So, well, and that's going to be odd because I hit the record button. We never do anything but a cold open.
I know. We're usually already knee deep in Costello and Tom Petty by this point.
Yeah. Oh well, we didn't really do a professional opening this time either because I already hit the record button.
Well,
hey, Fork Buddies!
Hey,
Welcome
Fork Buddies.
to What the Fork.
We're back.
We are
2.
back. Season 2. Our hiatus is over. I'm Jared.
I'm Jason.
Hopefully you enjoyed our hiatus episode with Carly from Yab Yum. That was a blast for me. I know it was great talking.
It was a blast for me. And have we heard anything from Darcy Carden yet about her award? Has she come to collect it?
I have not. She has not added What the Fork. So,
okay.
Darcy Carden, if you're listening, at What the Fork Pod, and also Yab Yum have tagged you in an award that just says you're a winner, because that's what we believe you to be.
So we can send it to you, or if you'd like to just come to collect it personally. And
you can be on the podcast.
Yeah.
Open invitation to Darcy Carden to be on the podcast.
We'll have an award ceremony in Jared's office.
I do. Yes. But it will not sound like awards music. It will be, for copyright reasons, probably me strumming some minor chords.
I may do some humming.
Yeah, mouth trumpet could be involved.
Mm-hmm.
I have a harmonica somewhere.
I have air drums.
Sweet.
I have air guitar.
Excellent. Were you a fan of Scrubs?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think we've talked about that briefly before, but there's one of my favorite episodes is when Turk joins the band, the air band.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty fantastic.
I realized this was a joke even before Scrubs, but I often find myself quoting that "Who has 2 thumbs and doesn't give a crap." This
Yes.
guy.
Yeah, Bob Kelso.
I thought we met.
Yes. There are a lot of things. I really loved that show. I thought it was smart. I thought it was good. But I often will quote Dr. Cox's hate is not a strong enough word. I need something more than hate. I mega loathe you all. But hey, so we're back. New year, new season new season to the podcast. It's season 2.
Right.
And we have something else that's new, a sponsor.
Tell me more, Jared.
Well, so somebody has recognized the greatness of our show and decided to use it as a platform to launch their own great thing. And because it is the beginning of the year, it is a great time to have this sponsor who can, have you ever, Jason, thought of starting your own business?
I have.
Have you?
I have. Did you know I have a website advertising my writing?
You do.
www.jasoncowell.com. Oh, wait, we're not advertising me, though.
No, we are not. But also, you have failed to mention this on every episode that we've ever done.
'Cause someone will go.
But let's say you were trying to grow your website or revamp your website, or say somebody was like, you know what, I was thinking of starting a website. I just realized that I'm touching my chin as though we were being filmed and I were doing some like visual cues and nobody can see that. Anyway, let's say you wanted to a fresh new look or just a new look, and you wanted to let's say you wanted to market Giannu's magic amulets. And you wanted to start a website just for that. I have a place for you to go to do that, Jason, because that's what I assume you would do.
I am having a party with shrimp, with giant shrimp, and lots of booze.
And you know who would make the perfect graphics for that?
Who?
Is a fellow named Chris Ayers. That's Ayers. You visit chrisayerscreative.com. You can see his animation reel and see all the work that he's done for Right This Minute and for CBS 5 and And Chris is somebody who has a wealth of design experience. He's been in the business for nearly 20 years, 12 of them here in Phoenix. So by supporting Chris, you're supporting a local business. He can do website design, logos, can do anything visual you need. Chris Ayers is your guy. And
Hey, Jared.
Hey, Jason.
Did Chris design that poster of Rushmore that was created for the Phoenix Film Collective?
You know what, Jason? He did.
I love that poster. It hangs on my wall.
He's actually designed all of the posters for Phoenix Film Collective, and I picked up the ones for What We Do in the Shadows and Being John Malkovich.
Oh.
And I think he does absolutely fantastic work. And what I actually you can, if you visit the Phoenix Film Collective website, not that this is plug for Phoenix Film Collective, but there's a link to a blog that he did showing how he created the Being John Malkovich one, and it's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, so what we're saying is we love Chris's work. We strongly endorse Chris's work. It's great to have a sponsor whose work we personally support and feel comfortable endorsing. And so what we're saying is if you need a website or branding or any such thing like that, visit chrisayerscreative.com. What was that address, Jason?
chrisayerscreative.com.
All right, now back into the show.
All right.
So we're here to talk Season 2, Episode 1 of The Good Place, which I, as I had to message you frantically, I forgot that it's a 2-chapter opening.
I did not forget. As I watched last night, and Kristen, my wife, was like, "Oh God, the show's going to go 3 hours, isn't it?"
You know what? I think that we can really cut it down. I think that we can make an episode of reasonable length. I believe in us. Again, it's a new year. We can be filled with optimism and goals. Neither of which are being helped by me rambling on currently about this.
You know, this is the first episode that my father has watched. I made him watch it last night.
Really? So
Yeah.
why you had mentioned that he wasn't going to come on the show because he hadn't seen the show before, but he saw the episode we're going to talk about.
But I didn't know he would be watching the episode that we were going to talk about.
Gotcha.
Shout
out to Jason's dad because
Yes.
he's a diehard Fork buddy.
Yes, he is. He longtime Fork buddy, which is weird because I'm talking about my dad here. But he is a first-time supporter of NBC's The Good Place.
Excellent. Which was, I'm assuming, watched through Netflix.
Yes, it was. So he chuckled. He guffawed.
Cool.
He didn't need...
How could you not?
Right.
I mean, and we're going to get into this. I think that this was... This episode had some stumbling blocks.
Yeah.
It's an interesting foray back into it.
I was just about to say that it's almost it's a good thing, I guess, maybe that it was his first episode because it sets the bar awfully low.
Well, I don't know how.
Well, not
low.
awful low. Well, it's not low, like low for The Good Place.
There's some, I have copious time marks here. There are definitely some things that I love. It's a little awkward. How do you reboot The Good Place? Because that's the whole premise of season 2, is that, of course, as the very long recap
Yes.
pointed out, and that I already knew, of course, Eleanor figures it out and leaves herself a note saying, "Find Chidi," and so there's all of that, and the conceit of this second season is that Michael has to start over, and this is his last chance. Auspiciously, this is his last chance.
As someone points out, everything's a bit off.
Correct. Everything is a bit off. Well, and so is that really what they were going for? The episode feels off. Everybody feels off.
Yeah. But I think there's a reason for that, too. It's because maybe the reason is that last year like, or last season, there were behaviors that became learned, things that become taught.
Yeah.
Which, especially for Eleanor, she, like, even though Michael had erased their memory and everyone's memory and they rebooted, like, there were behaviors that became behaved and ingrained in her.
There's one line in particular, and I have this mapped here at the beginning, but some clunkiness to remind us of who these people were. You know, with Eleanor saying, "Why don't I ever listen when people talk about themselves?"
Yes.
Oh yeah, because they're terrible, or whatever she says. It's like, hey, remember, Eleanor was terrible. You know, we're supposed to be reminded that she has none of the things that she learned from working with Chidi and just becoming a better person over the course of the first season. And it's like, hey, just to remind you, Eleanor, not so good.
Yep.
Yeah. And they do this again. Well, I guess we can do this actually splicing in the episodes, but is there anything else that you wanted to maybe talk about prior to launching into the episode proper?
No, I think it's it's funny. Well, in the first episode of the show, they didn't really get into philosophy as much as they do as the show continues. So this is like one of the, I think the only two philosophers that get even mentioned is what do we owe each other? Because
what we owe to each other. Yeah,
because that's what Eleanor used as the note.
Right.
And I think Scanlon gets like a brief mention by Chidi at one point.
Because he mentions that he taught the book in his class, right? Well, and in the initial mention in the initial meeting where Chidi's trying to decide on his soulmate, is there are a couple of philosophers mentioned because they talk about the paper she wrote.
Oh yeah, that's right. Then they talk about Kant and
Foucault. And I'm sure it's like Foucault or some French thing.
Yeah. Philosophers, let us know if we got wrong.
Yeah.
Twitter at
hey,
what the fork.
Philosophers, open invitation to be on the show.
If you're not already in the bad place being tortured, come talk to us.
Yeah. You mean all my heroes are in the bad place?
But you made it, Chidi.
We'll talk about it throughout. I don't know. I think overall for me, the episode succeeds, but there definitely are some clunky, trying to remind us where we are, and I think that is something. I wonder if it's something that would be there if this was on Netflix or Hulu. Because as an original show, because that's a network thing to me, is that you do the recap up at the top that informs you of everything that you've seen from hey, it's like a math class after you're back from summer break. It's where this is all the review stuff, But in general, when network shows come back from hiatus, they spend the first episode reminding you of who everybody is and where you were before. And I don't see that as much in Netflix shows, primarily because they drop everything at once and they know, hey, it's here forever now, and you can revisit it if you want. There are some recaps in there, obviously, but they make them skippable for one, which is great, and for another, they're not incorporated into the show itself. Right.
Which is, Cheers, when I was doing my Cheers rewatch, they would do those recaps for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And by the way, and it'd always be from the point of view of Cliff. Hey, Ma. Yeah. I'm recapping the show here.
But then it's